All right. Thank you very much for coming today into our webinar here, our cybersecurity webinar. Today, we're going to be speaking about how to keep your business from being hacked. I have Kathy Code, my assistant here, who's going to be the moderator and my assistant through this webinar. Kathy, can you say hello?
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us.
All right. And if you wouldn't mind, let me know if you can hear and see me in the chat. If you could type a 1 for yes and a 2 for no. And we'll check that and make sure that you can see me and hear me. Everything's good there. How are we looking there, Kathy?
Well, we didn't get any no's, so
All
presumably
right.
everyone can see and hear
Excellent.
you.
Okay. So if you have any questions, we've got a Q&A box at the bottom of the screen typically. You can put your questions in there, and we'll answer those most likely at the end of the webinar, unless something comes up in between. I'll pause a little bit, but most of those questions will be answered at the end. And again, thank you for attending today. And we appreciate you being here today. We know you're busy. But I think you will get some value out of this, and it'll be a good session for us. So let's go ahead and dig in. So today we're going to talk about how to keep your business from being hacked and preventing the 3 simple mistakes business owners make with their data that no one is talking about. And you might be saying to yourself, well, why the heck do you want to, why do you care what I have to say? Well, I've been doing this a pretty long time. I've been doing this since 2002, so that tells you something about me. I've been in it for over 20 years, going, 20, 23, 24 years. It's just been a long time. I've actually, when I started out as a help desk person for a small software company, and I did that for 3 or 4 years, and I just saw a huge need talking to other business owners and consultants that this is something I can do. And so I started a company called Mobile Tech, and Mobile Tech was something I did pretty much everything. I fixed grandmother's computers. I fixed anything that had to do with computers or networks. And so I did that for a pretty long time. And then about 5 years ago, I really decided to focus on security and businesses. And that's when ForeverOn Technologies was born. And we built this company with security in mind. And, I had, when I was younger, I wanted to kind of be a rock star, but I knew I couldn't make money doing that. So, I mean, I was a pretty good musician, but, I had to find a career that I really liked. So this is really my second, and now really my first passion is technology, to help people with their technology. I love to learn and apply technology to businesses. I belong to multiple peer groups, security peer groups, and we've partnered with a company that is very security focused. And that's one of the things I want to offer you today is that third-party security risk assessment. And the great thing about this is it's really complementary. So I want to help protect businesses from these cyber threats that we're seeing out here today. Our partner, our security team, has audited 2,265 networks over the last 12 months. And I can tell you where people are going wrong when it comes to protecting themselves and being able to make sure that their insurance policies cover the attacks. So, and really our objective here with our security partnership is we want to help protect 1 million people. This is a worldwide effort. We really want to help to prevent these type of attacks and these kind of issues that businesses are having. And we're offering this free analysis, and that's part of our mission. So grab something to write with, and pick up your favorite beverage, and you're going to get some value out of this. So you might want to be taking some notes. So what I'm going to be going over today is the 3 mistakes business owners are making when it comes to security and how you can prevent them. We're going to be talking about believing antivirus is enough, missing the warning signs, and not seeking validation. So let's start with antivirus. So when we think of antivirus, we kind of think that, well, that's maybe all we need. Well, 75% of ransomware victims report having up-to-date antivirus. And if you really don't know what ransomware is where they encrypt your data and then they hold that for ransom for a sum of maybe $50,000, $100,000. It really depends on your size of business. They actually scope this out. They scrape information from the internet and they determine what you can afford or maybe a little bit above that to get that ransom paid. So without proper security, you're gonna, there's a risk of ransomware. And when you look at businesses, 3 out of 4 businesses are getting hit by ransomware when they just have antivirus on their systems. So, well, they think they were safe. Well, they were investing in security in their minds, but unfortunately, the attackers still got into the systems. See, hackers can bypass antivirus, and they are constantly evolving their tactics, changing their tactics, and it's really hard to keep up with them. They're almost 1 or 2 steps ahead of us all the time. So we got to always be thinking ahead of the hackers as much as we can. So think of antivirus, it's like your immune system. You get a cold and your immune system looks at that cold and says, well, it's looking for a pattern. Have you been here before? Is this something that my body has had before? Well, it's looking for that pattern. And if it hasn't seen that pattern before, it's probably going to let it in because it's basically looking for some type of data to say, hey, is this good or bad? So if antivirus hasn't seen a file before, it's going to assume it's good. So it's going to let that through the system. And so hackers keep changing their files, and antivirus is having a hard time keeping up with it. Even if we look at artificial intelligence, it needs to learn, and it makes it slower to respond than the hackers do. So in security, what worked yesterday does not necessarily work today. So we have to make some adjustments. We need to get that kind of assessment done so we understand our risks, and then we can help to prevent those. So let's take a look at a small financial services firm. And in this example, before COVID, most of their users were working at the office. And so in a small office environment, protection was easy back then. They thought that, if I have antivirus on my computers, I'm protected. I've got this, great corporate firewall that protects me in the office. And well, if an attacker got past the antivirus, which they often do, the corporate firewall was supposed to stop them. So that was back then. Now we're looking at a little bit different things now. We're seeing, after COVID, there's a huge difference in the way we work. We're working from home a lot. We're working in coffee shops. We work in hotels and the office. So we're working in all these different environments. And then you look at, well, what's in that environment? Are you protected? Well, unfortunately, a lot of people are using inexpensive firewalls at home, and these things are not really like a corporate firewall. They're not going to block those threats. So we really need to protect those devices. So when a hacker gets past the antivirus, there's no corporate firewall to stop them. In this example, we had 17 users, and of those 17 users, one person clicked on a phishing email. And you want to know what a phishing email is if you don't know. Phishing email is when someone sends you an email, it's not a real email, it's from a hacker typically. They're trying to get you to click on something or download something or click on an attachment. And you click on that attachment, that executes something on the computer, maybe like a ransomware a file, and that's going to basically cause damage to your system, potentially encrypt that data on your system, and then hold that for ransom. So it only took one out of these 17 individuals at this company. And statistically, 1 out of 5 users will click on a malicious link. We've used security awareness training quite a bit for our companies, and we're seeing patterns just like this, where people are clicking on things and they just don't know better. So part of our strategy is training and making them aware, and then testing them as well with phishing simulations. So we need to look at this because, well, the hackers in this case got past the antivirus. They accessed the VPN on that machine. And because they had access to the VPN, they were able to spread their ransomware across the network and to all the connected computers. So ultimately, they had to pay. And so they were down for 13 days. Can you imagine not being able to respond to your clients for 13 days? Can you imagine telling your clients that you can't access their files? Well, in this case, they had to pay the ransom. And, you know, they don't always, the hackers aren't always going to give you your data. You know, there's probably maybe a 50% chance that you're going to get your data back. So, and it doesn't really matter what size business you have. If it's a small business, big business, if you're doing business in the cloud, we all need to look at those type of businesses because they're all at risk and they all have to pay the ransom. So what can you do? So you want to make sure that antivirus is protecting your users' data and reputation. Yes, you want to have antivirus, but you need to have multiple layers of security, not just the antivirus. And when we look at this, this is sort of a chart here that tells you the different layers of security that you need in your system. You want to look at the human layer. This is where we do security training, make employees aware of the potential attacks. We test them. We then simulate phishing attacks and then send those to them so that they can actually see what it looks like. And then we educate them again with those type of emails, because when they click on them, fortunately, they're not going to get ransomed. They're actually going to get a training. They're saying, hey, you clicked on this. Now we're going to teach you how to not do this next time. And over time, that does help. We really want to empower the employees to be part of the mission of protecting the business. We also want to look at the perimeter layer, protecting outside the office network with like a VPN. We want to have a network layer so we can pick up information on the devices. We need to have that endpoint protection, but a little bit more than antivirus, something like more advanced security methods. We want to have application protection or whitelisting in place. So that is where we block things like we only allow what's in the network to be accessed. Anything else is denied by default. And that is a relatively new thing. It's like a software firewall for your computer, but it's been very effective in stopping ransomware attacks and other types of infections. And also, and most important, is your data layer is backup and encryption, having those in place. Your backup is your fail-safe, but you never want to clean up a ransomware. I've been through it. It's a mess. You have to re-image computers, clean up messes, and it's just not fun. So have the prevention in place for those things, and that way you have less cost, less risk to your business. So these are the layers of a good security stack that should be in place. So do we have any questions at this time, Kathy?
No questions at the moment, Erik.
Excellent. So must be doing a good job. Okay, so let's continue on. The next thing we want to look at, the business owners are missing, are the warning signs. So this is something we want to look for if something, potentially happens. What are you going to do? So simple warning signs your network is insecure is, let's say, for example, you've experienced a breach, maybe a small breach, maybe a small bit of data loss or something, or even a ransomware attack before. You want to look at your environment very carefully, even though you might have had something and you think you're safe, because unfortunately, lightning does strike twice. And what I mean by that is hackers will basically leave a back door into your systems. You got to think a little bit like a hacker when you do this type of security analysis. And if they have an opportunity, they're going to go back and try to dig into that well again and try to ransom your system again. They're just not going to do, say, one and done. They're going to try to get as much out of you as they can. Well, they are criminals, they are hackers. So this is something we have to be very careful of. If you can log into your business email without being prompted for an access token on your phone, and again, this is a really important thing that needs to be implemented. Right now, people are just using passwords maybe to protect their information. Well, hackers can really easily circumvent passwords with different types of password breaking mechanisms. So we need to have another layer of protection there on for email. This is called multi-factor authentication or two-factor authentication. And what that basically does is gives the hackers another wall, basically, of security that they have to try to knock down. It's very hard, not impossible, but instead of just having a password, they have the ability to, you basically have another layer where a code gets sent to your phone, or you have to authenticate with your phone. And so the hacker would have to have your password and your phone in order to get into your system. So it's really important to have multi-factor authentication. If you're not getting that second prompt to log into your systems, then please make sure you have that enabled. That's going to be a very important piece of your security. If you're getting a lot of spam and unwanted email that's constantly appearing in your inbox, this could mean that a hacker potentially got into your email and now they're starting to spam you with stuff. So that is another indicator that maybe there's been a breach. So you want to look at breach reports and make sure your email is safe, and that if it has been breached, you have some type of monitoring in place for that, because you want to know, and then you can make the proper adjustments, change passwords, and so forth if necessary. So if you look at organizations, 74% of organizations in the United States have experienced a successful phishing attack. So this is huge. 74% experience a successful phishing attack. And of those 74%, 65% of those experience business email compromise. So business email compromise is when somebody tricks one of your unsuspecting users into sending funds to the wrong person, or maybe uses their account to send an email to one of their vendors and convince your vendors or clients to pay the wrong person or wire funds to the wrong location. So this is critical. We don't want to see these type of attacks. So again, having those protections in place, multi-factor authentication, being aware of things will help tremendously. And of the other piece is 47% were infected with ransomware. Again, that is the tactic of these hackers today. It's easy money for them when they can just encrypt a computer, the data on that computer. They can ask for some money. They basically get that money without any trace, because they're doing it through perhaps Bitcoin or some other digital media that's not trackable. So, and then again, at the end, there's no 100% guarantee you are going to get your data back. So you want to make sure you have that backup in place. You want to make sure you have those layers of security in place. And the other thing you want to look out for is, are you getting a lot of warning messages on your computer, pop-ups? Well, make sure you do not click on those pop-ups. Call your support person, your computer support person, and talk to them, because that's a big indicator that you may not have the greatest solution in place, greatest security solution in place. So definitely call your computer support people and have them evaluate that system. And the last sign, which you want to look for, and there's a lot of them, but weird emails in your sent items, you want to look in there once in a while. Profile updates, like an unexpected change to your phone number. You want to look for any signature changes in your emails that doesn't look like yours or isn't yours at all. You want to look at possible mail forwarder that sends messages to your trash bin, or perhaps someone else. It does happen. Maybe a password has changed unexpectedly. And when you think of passwords, you get a message. Again, be very careful with when you look at your email messages, because hackers also do phishing with password changes, and you need to look at those emails carefully to make sure they are not they're not malicious. And so that's part of the security awareness training layer I was telling you about, the employee layer that you need to implement. The other thing you want to do is you want to be careful of, if you have no clear method to report a security incident. That's another big indicator that you don't have a very secure environment. So what can you do? So make sure everyone is on the lookout. Make sure you have a documented way to get help, and then make sure everyone knows what to do. So this is going to help tremendously, making everybody aware, getting a culture of security into your business, your organization, your firm, your practice is extremely important, because the employees are the front lines of your business. So you need to make sure they understand the risks and how to find those things. And the last thing that I want to bring up is not seeking validation. This is the last three things that we see business owners making when it comes to security. Think about it this way. Do you ever get an X-ray at the dentist? Absolutely. Even if you weren't experiencing tooth pain, you would still get an X-ray. Well, why is that? Well, think about it. We have these problems that you can't detect with the naked eye. And so we're going to go to the dentist. If we have a toothache or we don't, we're still going to get that X-ray done, because we want to make sure no underlying conditions are developing. So like you could have maybe a cracked cavity or a filling. Something could be festering underneath that filling, but you might not feel anything. Well, that X-ray is going to help to reveal any underlying problems. So what you want to think about here is, have you ever had an X-ray on your network? Have you ever had your security analyzed? Have you ever considered if your security tools are doing what you expect them to do? So what we're offering here is a third-party security risk assessment, a complimentary third-party security risk assessment. And what we're going to do is we're going to analyze your network. It's a very simple process. We analyze your network through a very simple process. We meet with you and we review those results. And then we give you the simple steps you can take to protect yourself and your data. So if you're only using antivirus, if you ever had a breach, data loss, or ransomware event, if you can log into your business email without that second form of authentication for access to your systems. If you're getting a lot of spam or unwanted email constantly appearing in your inbox, in your mailbox, if you are getting warning signs or pop-ups on your computer, and if you don't have a good method to report a security incident, it's time to get that security analysis. And I know what you're thinking, well, it's not my job. Well, think about it this way. Ultimately, if there is a breach, who's going to be talking to the clients? Who's going to be communicating that you had a breach? Who will deal with the negotiations with the ransomware, with the hacker, to get the ransomware, the ransom determined? Well, ultimately, it's the business owner, that's going to have to do this. So unfortunately, the responsibility ends up on the business owner. So it's really something that you need to be very aware of. So you might be thinking, well, I'm just a small company. They're never going to come after me. Unfortunately, all businesses are at risk. Small businesses, big businesses, businesses in the cloud, all businesses. And I know we see in the news, we see a lot of things like the MGM attack. If you've seen that, I'm sure you've seen that. But it's they have many hotels and casinos in Las Vegas, and their systems were crippled. And they basically were ransomed for, I think it was like $100 million, $200 million. It was just ridiculous. I mean, they have a lot more money, but that's what you see in the news, right? The news is going to report those big things, and then you think you're safe. But unfortunately, all businesses are at risk, because I've seen it. I've seen small businesses, small law firms, dental practices. They've had problems with ransomware. If you do not have proper protection in place, you're at risk. You need to have these different layers in place. And that third-party security analysis, we even do it for ourselves, because we want to make sure we're protecting. We're doing the best for our clients. And that's going to give you that information that you can then remediate those issues. The other way you can think about this is, would you ever consider proofreading your own work for something that is really, really important? For example, you're handling a large client, and you have this huge proposal. Wouldn't you want to have someone else take a look at that? Absolutely. And so if you're going to get a third-party security assessment, don't force your IT people to be that extra eyes for you. You really need to look at it from a third party to get the proper analysis. And even us, ForeverOn, we do those tests all the time with ourselves to make sure we are protecting ourselves and our clients the best we can with their information. So don't force your IT department to do that either. And in our process of doing this assessment, we don't need the administrative credentials. You do have the option to get your IT department involved, but honestly, hackers aren't going to give you that option. Hackers aren't going to say, hey, we're going to hack you tomorrow, so get ready. They're not going to do that for you. So you might want to think doing this assessment so you can get a true analysis of how protected you are if you currently have an IT service company, because that's going to give you a better result of what needs to be done. So definitely consider that. However, we can do it either way. We can do it either way you want. Again, we're not installing anything on the system. We're basically going to analyze the network, and we're going to meet with you to review those results, and then give you those simple steps you can take to protect yourself and your data. And to get this analysis, it's real simple. Go to our link, www.foreveron.net/cyber audit. And what else? Is there a catch here? Not really. We're just trying to protect 1 million people. We have a lofty goal, and we're going to try to reach that goal. This is a worldwide effort to protect people from these type of hackers. Again, get that free. Again, it's free, complimentary. I think we have like 3 or 4 left this month. So we can get those in if you would like. And just get that third-party cybersecurity assessment done. And you just go to our link there. It's www.foreveron.net/cyber audit. And thank you very much for attending today. Hopefully you got some value out of that. Kathy, can we check for any kind of questions or any other things we need to review before we end? Kathy, you're on mute. You might need to unmute yourself.
My apologies. Yes, we do have a question asking, do you provide general overview or audit for systems already in place, or where could I get more information?
The answer is yes, we can provide an audit for you continuously if you would like. We can also do this periodically. It's really your option and how you feel. We do offer it as a service that can be done on a continuous basis to make sure you are secure. And that also, things change in environments. Like, for example, in an IT department, you can have someone change something and maybe they forgot to turn multi-factor authentication on for one of the computers or one of the users. And so this is actually going to look at those type of things and say, hey, wait a minute, you need to fix this over here. And that's going to be a continuous effort. So yes, we can do that. And if you want more information on this, you can reach us at that link right down there. It says ForeverOn.net/cyber audit. And that is basically a form you can fill out. It goes right to us. And then we can schedule a meeting with you to review anything that you would like. And we can also set up that assessment. Again, this is a complimentary assessment. There's no charge for this. We're just trying to help people to remain protected. And if we can help them, that would be great. That's what we're trying to achieve here. So, all right. Anything else, Kathy?
Nope, that's it for now, Erik.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much for attending today, and I appreciate your time. And hopefully we can we'll talk to you again soon. And thank you very much. We'll go ahead and end this, and we will see you next time.